Hello, it's Shafiq Villasanti here. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Shafiq Villasanti and I'm a confidence and empowerment coach, author and public speaker. But most importantly, I am the survivor of 2 suicide attempts. Yeah, I actually said it. I actually said it as if I'm talking about the weather or changing channels on the TV. I am the survivor of 2 suicide attempts. And what I realise is that it's a refreshing take on things to be able to talk about it in a relatable way, to break down those stigmas and break down those taboos. And that's the reason why I'm doing this, because a lot of us don't know how to approach it. We don't know how to approach it if we're suffering ourselves. If we're family and friends and colleagues, we don't know how to approach the subject. It's as if you haven't got initials after your names, or if you haven't got a doctorate in this, or if you're not associated to a particular group, then how dare you even talk about it, because we're not able to. But what I learned along my way between my 2 suicide attempts, the first one being in 2006 and latterly in 2016, was that over those 10 years, nobody spoke about it. I was terrified to speak about it. I was terrified to even mention the word. And if we say suicide, it comes up with all forms of images of maybe underpasses, of ligatures, of cliffs, of pills, of razor blades, all this sort of stuff, which is quite harrowing to talk about it, and I will not be flippant about it. But most importantly, we all have mental health, don't we? We have good and bad mental health. And suicide is just the label that is associated to somebody who has such bad mental health that they can't carry on. But for me, and the reason why I wrote this book, for your interest, There's No Shame, by Shafiq Villasanti, so I have some credibility, was to break down those taboos and was to explain to people how my life got to such a point that I wanted to do it. Because a lot of us will struggle and not know who to turn to. A lot of us will reach such lows that in those dark places we just want the world to stop. We don't necessarily want to end our lives, but we just want the world to stop and just take stock and say, look, I've got to catch up with it because it's running away from us, if that makes sense. And mental health is more than poor mental health. Mental health is about good mental health, good and bad mental health. So what happens if you are living with a mental health condition? What happens if you are diagnosed with depression, anxiety, low mood, low self-esteem? Mental health can be bulimia, it can be anxiety, it can be body dysmorphia. What happens if you're diagnosed with that? It's going to affect your mental health. And who can I turn to? Who out there is relatable? Who out there understands? Now, I'm not going to say I understand everything, but what I'm going to say is that from where I was in 2016, and I've got to be careful when I put this out on social media because there are lots of triggers. But from where I was in 2016, where I attempted to take my life, and it's all in the book because I can't say it on camera, to where I am now, something drastic has changed. Something has changed in my way of thinking, in my life, in my family's life, in my extended family's life, in my friends and my social circles that have enabled me to create this life for myself. And one of the things was understanding how I thought. But to get to that point, you have to obviously overcome a whole plethora, a whole range of situations that will turn up in your life as you're dealing with it. So it's about looking for the signs. It's about what do you do with that first diagnosis. It's who do you talk to? How long will it take to overcome it? Are there any long-term effects? What medication might you be taking? What support is there? How will it affect my family life? Am I trusted around people? What is your family's take on it, most importantly? How are you seen? And those taboos and prejudices that are all ultimately labelled with somebody who says, yeah, I've got poor mental health. And that's if you have the confidence to even approach it. Do you speak to your workplace? Do you inform your union? Do you inform your co-workers? Do you have to tell HR? Do you have to tell your friends? All this stuff that basically I learned as I created this new person. And I guess I am a new person. I'm not angry with life. I'm not caught up with life. I'm content with everything that I have. And the reason for, most importantly, just to wrap up, this series of vlogs is to tell you through the stages, is to give you yourself, if you're struggling, hope, belief, a degree of positivity that maybe you haven't got at the moment. For family, to look for the signs, to understand what those individuals are going through. For you who's suffering, most importantly, to make you see it from your family's point of view, because I know my wife and children did have a very hard time. More so my wife, because we kept it away from our 2 young children. And how you are perceived in society. World Mental Health Day was on the 10th of October this year, and whilst we all like and share and put out videos, etc., do we really understand what we're putting out there? Do we have an understanding? Do we have the ability in ourselves, most importantly, to come up to somebody and say, I know you're struggling, but what can I do for you? Where do you start? Are there words that you have to avoid? Are there things that you can't say? It can be scary, it can be daunting. And for me and my family, my wife in particular, it was a completely blank page upon which we had to learn. And those blank pages I'd like to share with you. Those blank pages I'd like to give you an understanding, a degree of confidence that you can overcome this, and that most importantly, you will overcome this. And it's just a phase, a stage, if you like, in your life that is challenging, but you can and will overcome. 1 in 4 people will suffer with this. So you're not alone. You're not that scared individual that I was in 2006, where I did feel I was alone and I couldn't speak to anybody. And because I didn't speak to anybody, for 10 years I was dealing with the demons. I was labelling myself as that crazy individual. And I didn't deal with it. Didn't deal with it the right way. I just threw myself into work. I threw myself ultimately into working 18 hours a day and being told I was useless and I was failing. And I felt like I was failing at work. I felt I was failing at home life. I felt I was failing amongst my friends. I felt I was failing society. And then it reared its head again. I'd just like to say that when it comes to the vlogs and what I talk about, this is my opinion. This is my experiences. Now, I am an accredited coach. I do have qualifications in mental health in the workplace, so on and so forth. So I do have an understanding. I have taken prescription drugs. I've been on them long term. I've come off them long term. Most importantly, I have come off of medication. I've seen psychiatrists. I've been to self-help groups. I've been to the GPs. I've suffered losing my job through mental health. I've suffered the prejudices in society. I've suffered losing family and friends through it. But most importantly, my life is so much better now than it ever was. And in some ways, that closing of one door is the opening of another. And that's what I want to share with you. That's what I want to give you confidence and belief. So I'll be putting this out via the YouTube platform, just because anybody has access to it. If you'd like to buy a copy of the book, there's no shame. I'll put all the associated links. Most importantly, please subscribe to the channel. Please like, please share, please comment, please have that interaction, because I am here to help. I'm not some charlatan. I'm not somebody who doesn't know it. I've lived it. The book will tell you I've lived it, and I've got some fantastic feedback. And please feel free to follow me on my social media. There's no shame and belief to succeed, and on my Instagram as well. And you can see the testimonials and how my journey in my life ultimately has helped others overcome their issues and their sticking points, and they're all in a much happier place now. So please be interactive, please share, please like, please comment, please subscribe, please put this out to other people, and I look forward to sharing with you my first real vlog with specifics. And once again, have a great day. Cheers, bye.